Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's event. I hope you're all ready to time travel with the Mollusc Dimension. So my name is Tuyet, and I'm the creative producer of the Stay Connected strand, which is part of the Chinese Arts Now Festival. I'm Southeast Asian. I have long black hair with a tad of pink, so I'm just reflected on the wrong side. And I have black sort of cat eye glasses. So the Stay Connected strand of the Chinese Arts Now Festival has been running since February, and we've had some really amazing events that have been running every Tuesday and Thursday. So these events will continue to the end of April. So please feel free to go to the CAN website and see if there are any other events you'd like to join us for, because we'd love to see you there. During this event, please type in any questions or comments in the chat box, and I will add them to the conversation towards the end. So tonight, we're going to meet the multi-hyphenate artist, the Mollusc Dimension, who creates vibrant and absurdly humorous worlds from his experience of struggle. These are the first ever illustrated mini deep dive discussions of the Mollusc Dimension's output. We'll start with a 5-minute premiere screening of new self-crafted video visions of the music from his carefully produced, carefully concealed debut album entitled Welcome to the Mollusc Dimension, which was released in 2019. Next, there'll be a discussion with guest interviewer Urie Jo, aka Shaven Raven Designs. And in the second half of the event, the artist will perform 2 poems, one about losing his dad in a traumatic bereavement. This will be followed by a blossoming of recent and fresh ideas, and you'll be able to find out what Asians Have Feelings Too is all about and how you can get involved. The event culminates in a second chat, this time with myself, where I'll be integrating your comments and questions. So please don't be shy and leave some in the chat box for us. During this event, there's going to be 2 videos that will be shown, and they will have flashing visuals. There is an option for a captioned version of the video, so Hannah will drop that into the chat box now. If you do use the captions, please do come back after you've viewed the video, because there will be more discussions and live performance. So we also have put in the uncaptioned video in case anything goes wrong technically through the streaming. And as we all know, we can't really trust technology. So please click on that if you experience any technical sort of lagging. So without further ado, let's begin the event and discover more about the transformative, conflicted worlds of Generation X, British-born, Chinese, queer, trans-masc artist, the Mollusc Dimension, starting with a short video of his most recent album. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you at question time with the Mollusc Dimension at the end. Hannah, can you please play the first video?
The winner of 8 Golden Squid Awards, including Best Wild, Best New Voice Artist, and Best Squid of the Year. The Mollusc Dimension.
I went down to the riverside, shed my wings, and then I cried. Oh, what a blue you had dive to find the fire of my life, to find the fire of my life. And in the crowds of people, I thought I was alone, walking through my mind, seeing what I find. Red bird at my window, I'll not let you in. My house is made of wind, rain and snow. Why don't you find some other place to go? Some other place to go. Some and octopuses I did make a home in continents of seaweed. For several decades I did roam. Then something bright and shiny floated right before my eyes.
Hello, welcome to the Mollusc Dimension. That's me. In the album artwork that you can see there. With the sketch that I made for the designer before. So thanks very much for joining us tonight. I'm just gonna like preamble my prepared speech by saying that the video that I saw was very time traveled because I've got a bit of a strange internet connection today. So I'm wondering what everyone else out there saw. I'm very curious to find out afterwards. I'm an East Asian person and I'm wearing a shirt covered with multicolored fish. I have a dark grey hat on, I've got dark brown eyes and I'm underwater. I hope you enjoyed that music video premiere. I hope your internet connection was 1,000 times better than mine. And then we saw the sketch and the final artwork, which had a character of me with wings and a keyboard floating over this ocean. I'm so excited that I'm going to be interviewed by the artist who created the artwork. So let me tell you about them. Shaven Raven is the moniker of London-based designer Urie Jo, pronouns she, they. Oh, my pronouns are he, him. I think I forgot to say that. Shaven Raven has a portfolio showcasing photography, silkscreen printing, branding, and illustration. The UAL alumni has launched a line of gift wrap and is an aspiring voice artist. So as you may know, they actually recorded 3 voiceovers for my album. And as well as that, they photographed us at the launch, helped us backstage, and did so much to support us and even performed on the night. So they've opted to appear in avatar form tonight. And it will be a great pleasure to speak to them. So Hannah, could you please bring on Urie Jo?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello. Hello. I'm just going to read an audio description of my avatar. So, it's an illustration of a winged helmet shaped like a raven. Wearing this helmet is a character with dark red skin. The mask is face-like, or it's a mask-like face, rather. On the head is visible. Let me start again. Only the head is visible, turned towards the left. Underneath the illustration, the text reads, Shaven Raven Designs, shavenravendesigns.co.uk with some feathers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know what? Thank you for the opportunity for me sharing this space with you. I actually have some questions about the elements of the album and the process of its creation.
Great.
So actually, what is behind the title of the album?
Okay, so some of you might have been surprised to see that it said Foreigner Views. And maybe a few people knew that this had been an original idea for the title. And where this came from was because my parents moved to the UK and I was born here. And then white people have perceived me as foreign. And I wanted to say something with the title to sort of like connect to immigrants and other people who kind of like feel like outsiders. in the end, I basically, and that would have been kind of a provocative title as well. And I'm really curious, as I did change my mind in the end, about what people think about that title had I chosen to use that. So in the end, I went for Welcome to the Mollusc Dimension because it's an aspiration. So, you know, I aspire to being welcomed, and I think Britain should aspire to welcoming, you know, people as well.
It's a great choice, actually. I'm glad that you opted to change it. So we had a piece at the top of the clip, like the top of the video. I think it was actually written. It's Chopin's Polonaise. So why choose that one? What was that piece? Was the on that?
Yeah, so that was a piece that I thought I'd never be able to play, and then one day I suddenly could play it. No, I'm joking. After months and months of practicing, I could play it. Yeah, like artists usually use samples from artists they like, or maybe that they want to satirize. And for me in this album, it felt important to make everything like from scratch. And one of these reasons is because it's like autobiographical and auto-fictional. And also like a commitment to DIY culture, like do-it-yourself culture. So like that's where like the labor comes from oneself. And I feel like that poses an important alternative to consumerism, because like with consumerism, you know, you can buy something, you might need to buy it, and you can derive enjoyment from it. But there's something different about making something yourself, like it brings meaning and value to life.
And in that first song, Walking Through My Mind, there's like a mural of faces, quite a few faces actually. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that's a mural of real and imaginary faces of friends.
Oh, okay.
And the character in that song is singing about feeling alone while being in a crowd. And I think that's, you know, that might be something that most people feel at least one point in their life, you know. So I think it's something that people can connect to. But the thing is that music is a great way to feel less lonely, and it's also a great way to make friends.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. There was another character in there I noticed, illustrated character that appeared a fair few times. I think that's Squid Horse, isn't it? That was our introduction to Squid Horse. Tell me about Squid Horse.
Okay, so Squid Horse is basically me, because my name is Squid and my name is Mark, which means horse. And I've been making this comic about these three characters based on different sides of me, and I've drawn about 9 so far, but I'm still figuring out like how to present it. But one thing that feels right is basically like putting it together with music. So I really enjoy doing that. And I'm really inspired by like loads of comic artists that I've come across in the past, like Marjan Satrapi, Ruti Modan, and Alison Bechdel, and your illustrations for the album. And I'm just actually, at this point, I'm just going to hold up the album. I won't try and sell anyone that CD. So it's probably backwards. Is it backwards? I'm not sure.
No, it's the right way. It's right.
Oh, that's a surprise.
I think that's the thing of beauty, really.
I wanted to deliberately hold it backwards just to confuse everyone now. And so you can see this character going on this fantastical journey, and it's just like, it's amazing what you've done with my sketches. And if you've got the CD, then you'll know that it's actually red, and it's like a little.
Look at that. That's my. I shouldn't really say. That's one of my favorite things about it. Like, oh, that's absolutely gorgeous.
So, actually, Hannah, could you show the other slides of the album artwork and the sketches so that people can see that in
the details. Yeah.
detail? Yeah. So on the left, you can see my sketch with like all the messy things. And there's the dog. And then you are a powerful being, it says, wrapped around a heart with TV and ghosts and a dog.
Fishes.
Yeah, in space. I haven't read Douglas Adams for years, but you know, it's just like that stuff just gets inside your psyche. Yeah, great.
I would absolutely encourage people to buy the album. Just, I mean, it's amazing. It's really something of beauty. I cannot stress that enough. I have to say though, like on the album, one of my favorite songs is Redbird, which our mutual friend Wild was also involved with. It's really melancholic actually when I listen to it. So, like, how was working with Wild, who's also a musician, and what's the song about?
Yeah, so yeah, a few people would like that one. It's one of the more gentler ones anyway. It's kind of about impermanence. I don't want to give too much away because there might be some people who haven't heard the full song yet, or might want to consider it more. And Wild is an amazing musician who sings and plays guitar on 5 songs on the album actually. Actually, if you're interested, you can go and check out their music. It's at Wild Sings on SoundCloud. And 2019 was an amazing year for working together. I'm really glad that we had that before last year. We played at Trans Pride Brighton, Devil's Dyke Network Brighton, and we had a joint album launch. We each had an album to launch at DIY Space for London. I really miss those places a lot. And then like other people on the album as well, I just want to mention them. So Emily Lai played the harp. She's a former student of mine. That's on Redbird. She didn't learn harp with me. I don't play harp. I play the fake harp. Anyway, that's another story. I've got some tracks of fake harp. I shouldn't have told you they were fake, actually. I've ruined it all now. Yeah, so she plays some beautiful real harp on Redbird. And then our studio engineer was Felix McIntosh. Quite uncanny that she has the same name as my dad, which was part of the like feeling of like I need to work with this person. And yeah, I learned so much doing that. And I paid everyone because musicians should get paid. Because like there's this myth that musicians can't make any money, and the reason for that is just because people get used to getting things for free. Like you wouldn't really kind of think that way about food, or fuel and things like that. So making music takes time and energy and skills. And so if you've got any musician friends and other people, like especially if they're small independent people, like support our music and buy our merch, and it's very encouraging. And actually this month I'm gonna donate 75% of my proceeds in my Bandcamp shop to Hackney Chinese Community Services. So you've got things like Polonaise by Chopin, and then you've got like Welcome to the Mollusc Dimension. So it's like kind of like a range there, and also zines as well. So if you want to support us, you can take a look.
Yep, I would encourage people to absolutely do that, because the Squid has a lot, and it's all great. I'll be honest, it really is. Now I tell you what, like I am in awe of you. Like you made Take Me Back to the Ocean by yourself, like the video by yourself during lockdown. which is on YouTube, and people should also go and see that, because it's again, it's really something. I just, you know, in terms of what's happened in the last year and how difficult it's been for everybody, you made this really beautiful piece, and I think people should go and watch it. Honestly, like I really, yeah, it's a testament to, you know, Squid's talent.
Thank you. Oh, I can't blush, but my skin tone. But if I could, I would be. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm not going to argue with you asking people to go and watch it, because that would be lovely. And actually, thanks to a lot of the people watching and our friends and followers, like we did manage to get 1,000 views in less than a week last year. And it's got it's the one with the squid puppet and the ghost fish.
Yeah.
Ghostfish has fans, so basically I'm just like experience for Ghostfish today. And also like a really big thank you to everyone who has actually bought the album so far as well, because that's really, really amazing. Yeah.
I have to say, like the other song that I really like, and actually I want to ask you about the video, is Love Is Cool. Which had this vibe, like I'm not sure if anybody who's watching knows about the Happy Mondays, like the video for Fool's Gold. It's quite psychedelic, it's quite trippy, but actually includes like bits of nature, which you did as well. It really reminds me of that. So what's behind your use of nature in this clip?
Yeah, actually Felix has been saying that, Felix McIntosh, the studio engineer, not my dad, has been saying that my music is quite psychedelic as well. So I'm actually not familiar with the Happy Mondays, but I love hearing what people say my music sounds like, and I'm going to go and check that out for sure. And I'd love to know what more people think it sounds like as well. In terms of nature, it's like I really think that we need to decolonize nature. Like nature, I realize that nature is my friend, but for a while I did think that nature was like for white people. And you know, I'm just like going to mention some racism. So basically I've grown up with some racism, and then there was like corona racism, and like even small things can basically, you know, there's like a cumulative kind of effect. But nature doesn't care what I look like. Nature doesn't care, you know, who I am, and it's just there doing its thing. So I found it really, I don't know what the word is, just like meaningful. I found it, you know, a really great coping mechanism to, like, you know, when I'm going out and I feel a bit anxious, and I think, oh, these people are staring at me, just like take some photos of some trees, you know, and that's like really relaxing. And so then they kind of like ended up in this video, which hopefully you saw. If your internet was better than mine. Did you see that bit?
I saw it.
Okay, good.
It.
I'm happy now.
Yeah.
I'm relaxed now. Oh, and also, if for anyone who likes that song, I've actually got this cool video idea for that in the pipeline. Something to do with eco-vampires, and I can't reveal who or what, but I'm so excited. I really hope. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm sold. Eco-vampires, I'm sold. Absolutely. Now, okay, I really enjoyed contributing to this album. In fact, Soya Milk is one of like 3 interludes that I did that features my voice. And I found it really sort of interesting at the time. Like, what is behind the story of Soya Milk?
Yeah, so I was wondering if when people were listening, whether you you know, whether you thought that was a true story, or whether, you know, and like some of the things that kind of seem quite fantastical, like they have, you know, I put them there because they have meaning. I think that's something to do with performance art. It's not random, it actually has meaning, like all the tiny things. So this story is true. My granddad won a jingle writing competition for Soya Milk, and his song was played on the radio in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Yeah, my mum loves soy milk and she drinks it every day. And yeah, The thing I was thinking a lot. I was thinking a lot about like careers and families, and I'm descended from 2 generations of musicians and teachers.
Mhm.
But actually, that's it. I don't know what happened before then, but basically, my granddad and his brother rebelled against their dad to be musicians. He didn't want them to study music, but they found a way, and they worked as musicians. And I find that really interesting because, you know, sometimes when you're kind of looking to see, you know, how people get into the career that they got into, like it'll be like, oh, you know, it's descended from a family of artists, or you know, and it's just like sometimes it can be a bit discouraging. But I think it's important to like, you know, read between the lines, because you know, like one's bio is like a PR thing, so you know you want it to sound good, but like I've been reading like people's Wikipedia pages, and there's so many twists and turns, and you know it's really interesting. So like I think when, you know, if there's anyone out there who's like reading people's bios and thinking, oh, you know, that, you know, I don't know if I can do that job, but I really would love to, like, just, you know, if you feel passionate about it, then you know you can find out how to kind of you know, acquire the knowledge that you need.
I think that's great advice. I'm definitely inspired by that myself. um,
Thank
now,
you. I have a question. I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So, as a voiceover artist, would you like to tell us what would be a dream job for you?
Oh, goodness. Wow. A dream job for me. Oh, I I would say a regular stint on a kids TV show. Like that would be a dream for me. You know, weekly or monthly, biannually would be fine as well. Something where I get to work with other voice talent. We become a family over a number of seasons. We bring like imaginary worlds and like characters to life. That would be amazing. That would be so good. Yeah, that would be a dream for me.
Yeah, that would be really great. So, if there's anyone listening who wants to hire Urie Jo, like, there they are, shavenravendesigns.co.uk, and I've been counting the number of characters you've created, and it's well over 10. Just for those
Is it?
projects. Welcome to the Mollusc Dimension, and there's an improv comedy podcast that we did
That's
called
right.
Tuyet's Queers Club, where you come up with some really, really funny characters, from horror to documentary to like certain radio stations, which people have found hilarious. And yeah, so if you want to check out Urie Jo and my, you know, music, then please go after the event to Bandcamp and check out the album. Oh, and also, because you make gift wrap, if you need any gift wrap, then look no further than Shaven Raven Designs.
Well, thank you so much for the plug. Thank you.
Well, thank you
so
very much for for coming onto the show today and interviewing me.
Well, there's something else that you'll be showing us, Squid. You're going to take us back to the ocean.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Okay. So so there's a video lasting 40 seconds of the sea tinted purple played backwards. The music is from the Mollusc Dimensions podcast, Adventures in Time and Gender, played backwards.
Hello and welcome back. I just had to, like, you know, slip into something a little bit more uncomfortable. So I can't wait to tell you about my exciting new collaborative idea, Asians Have Feelings Too. But first, there's going to be a sad bit. So some content notes for mental health and traumatic bereavement. So I'm going to read two poems that last about 3 minutes, and I'll just say something about them before. I don't often read poetry, so this is really different. And unlike music and art, it just, yeah, it feels kind of riskier. And why do I want to share something so deeply personal? Well, that's what artists do, you know, and I wanted to kind of take this opportunity to allow you to kind of like get to know like a bit more about me. So basically, the poem will appear on the screen, so people can read along if they wish to. So you can close your eyes and just listen as well. So I'm just going to read the audio descriptions before the poems appear. There's going to be a blue-grey slide, and on the right-hand side is a photo in two parts. The top half is an upside-down blue mountainside with an ice green sky, and there's a close-up of a multicolour glitter Christmas tree, which actually belongs to my grandma. Hannah, please could you show poem 1? Content notes, death. Flying in fall. Every day I feel like I'm falling. I want someone to tell me I'm not falling. I'm flying. My dad fell off a cliff. Well, did you fall off the cliff, or did the cliff fall off you? Before we found him, we couldn't find him. We were looking on the wrong mountain, and in between exhaustion and strawberries, we tried some creepy rituals I was never allowed to tell anyone about. Did my ancestors hear me that night, all 85 generations of them? We do not bring the dead back to life for good reason. And yet I am their favorite ghost child. I can feel it in my strange bones. What shall I do? I have many songs, and the one I sang, trying to find him. I write too much for one person to ever read. I make too much for any one person to ever taste. Did you know that in space, scientists found a massive water vapor cloud? I am 70% water. Only water has a timelessness to hold me. And that was written on the 25th of the 1st, 21. And I'm going to describe the next photo. Grey-green slide. On the right-hand side is the same photo as before, but the other way up. The colourful glitter is now above the mountain, which is the right way up. So could we go to poem 2, please? From Mountain Pines. I feel the storm of my heart, wrapped in a tenderness, the depth of mountain pines. In the flames of ego, I sought annihilation, as if my life depended on it. But imperialism hunts and starves as some of us dodge the hysterical screams of empire. Its annihilation is within the flames of ego, and lives depend on it. Wrapped in the depth of mountain pines. Tenderness storms me. I feel. Thank you very much for listening. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share those with you. And I'm really grateful for the encouragement from writer friends and friends. And I've been to a couple of writing events, which I'd like to mention. So one of them was Poetry LGBT with Andrina Lian, and also the Playing with Fire peer-to-peer survivor writing workshop with Jet Moon. And I felt really encouraged at those events, and writer events are really, really, really cool. And I'm really hoping that someone listening might feel inspired to write their own poem, especially if you've never thought of doing that before. So, what's next? I think I'd like to look at the future. So, Hannah, could you please show the image called Future? So, here are some stills, 9 stills from the mini music videos that I showed you earlier on. And a reminder that there's a transcript of all the videos and artwork we're showing this evening. It's also on my blog. And I thought I'd put that on the screen for you to look at while I talk about my new project. I've written a pop song, and it's called Asians Have Feelings Too. And the idea for the song came from thinking about corona racism and racism in general. I think a lot of us hide our opinions and emotions because it feels safer to do so, to the point that East and Southeast Asians actually have a stereotype of like not having emotions. So like seeing the hashtag Stop Asian Hate signs have like really inspired me. And I was just like imagining, you know, the video, like what it could look like, you know, global Asians, cutie BIPOC. If you don't know what cutie BIPOC means, I'll just explain. So it means queer, trans, intersex, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And BIPOC and allies of all ages dancing and like holding signs saying Asians have feelings too. Like, can you imagine it? And do you want to be in it? So basically, and also it's going to be paid. Successful submissions and applications will be paid. But please wait, don't like, you know, quickly make yourself a video of yourself singing and dancing. Wait for the call. And if you know, go to my website and write me an email and say that you're interested in being in it, and you can tell me like, you know, what do you do? Like basically, these are the sorts of roles that I'd like to find, like a video director, a music producer who's worked in pop, and who else? Like an event, what are they called? Event manager, like someone who like coordinates it. Because at the moment I've been doing pretty much everything myself when I make my videos, and I'd really love to work with a team. And I'm also especially hoping that British EC, that's East and Southeast Asians, especially queer and non-binary and gender non-conforming people, and also allies, will get involved because, you know, we're so invisibilized. Yeah, so basically that's, oh yeah, and also wanted to mention, like, you can follow me on social media. I have some students listening though. If you're my current student, you're under 18, don't follow me on social media. But everyone else, you can follow me on social media. And I'm at the Mollusc Dimension on Facebook and Instagram, and at Mr. Gloomy Tunes on Twitter. So at this point, I'd like to invite Tuyet to come back on.
Thank you so much, Squid, and thank you so much for sharing your work and giving us insight into your creative process in creating your artwork. I found that really insightful, and I think people don't ordinarily hear about, you know, I guess artists like you who collaborate with sort of designers and how they kind of make your vision, your creative vision, come into realization. So thank you for sharing that. But most of all, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing yourself. And I know that tonight is a really special night for you, one where that you are sharing your personal experiences about yourself and elements of your identity. So yeah, I really appreciate you being in this space and being really open about it. And yeah, it's exciting and really heartwarming to be in conversation with you. So thank you for having me. So talking about elements of identity, let's talk about identity. And I want to talk about being Asian, and what does it mean to be Asian? And I mean, I think we can do a whole event on just that alone. And
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And I feel like if there's anyone in the audience who is Asian, I mean, I'd love to hear your comments yourself. Like, what does it mean to be Asian? And like, just in earlier conversations between myself and you, we really discussed and explored being Asian and the difficult journeys that we've both had about fitting in a very Western society and ideology. And that's even more amplified in working in the artistic industry, where we're still very much underrepresented. And it's just the layers of your work exploring that is absolutely astounding. And I'd love to keep talking to you about that. But I'd like you to talk about some of the challenges that you faced when creating work, and how much of it, if at all, being Asian has influenced your work. And I guess what kind of messages you want to reach out to your audience, or sorry, I'm mumbling, or having your work reach particular audiences.
So what does Asian mean? Yeah, you're right. Like, we could have like a 5,000, you know, season like kind of YouTube series about this. It's just like so much to say. So like I think that like being Asian makes me think of like hectic efficiency. I don't know if anyone resonates with that, but I've decided to encapsulate it in those two words. And there's so much to unpack there, but I'm not going to right now. Well, I probably will in some artwork and so on. Hectic efficiency. And then also, like, Asians talk in food. Well, there's like the EC eats thing, and, you know, like, it's like it's so much better than the weather. You know, it's like, oh, it's nice weather, isn't it? It's like, oh, well, what do you like eating? I mean, obviously, like, not everyone wants to talk about food, but, you know, it's a... yeah. And yeah, in terms of challenges, yeah, like, you know, for those who heard my shoulder's like making these like real scratchy sounds. It's like this. I just want to say, actually, talking of food, right? So this is from like, you know, you get these like, I think a student like got us this box of biscuits, like chocolate biscuits for Christmas, and then that's like the foil thingy. So making this funny sound at the moment.
I hope that student's watching.
Huh?
I hope that student's watching.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I like those biscuits. Thank you. And so yeah, there were lots of challenges. Like, my mum and I, my family, have been like through a strange and difficult time, like with bereavement. And it's like, it's actually weird enough to be an opera, which my dad would have loved. And in many ways, like, moving back home like feels like time travel and a second childhood. And we've had loads of support from our friends. It's been really great. But because I'm an only child, there's been lots of responsibilities on my shoulders. And we had a few disasters, like the ceiling falling down. It was the floor from above, obviously. Like, so that's why I can call myself groundbreaking. And the roof leaking around the piano, and, you know, what has the dog eaten now? But, you know, even without these, there just seems to be something dramatic like happening every day, and it's really distracting. But also, you know, there's like interesting and, like, you know, funny stories. And other challenges, you know, like, how do I put this? Cishet, white supremacist, ableist, classist, patriarchal, fatphobic, capitalism, and you know, people who deny institutional racism. You know, like, that's very challenging. Kind of gets in the way of making art. or it changes the kind of art that you make anyway. As for bringing Asianness to my work, well, I've disappointed a lot of people for not being Asian enough. So that's why I decided to wear this evening.
Well, I mean, that makes me sad, and I think it's a really good thing to discuss in terms of like, and this has come up in our previous conversations about not being Asian enough, and I think that's quite a painful thing to hear, and I think that's something we're all kind of grappling with, and especially everything that's going on right now. It's like we're kind of like coming out of that sort of perception, and we're saying we are Asian enough, and we're standing together in solidarity. So you are you're enough, and you are Asian enough. We all are, and I think we need to bring that into our mindsets in the way we think. So yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I kind of want to draw into, because you spoke about family and your home environment, and one of the things that struck me when we were talking earlier in our earlier conversations was about moving back home for various reasons and living with our mum. And, talking about Asian, and we talked about, I think a lot of people don't get to hear it, like just the sort of funny characteristics that we experience with our mothers. And I'm not sure, you said that your mum might be watching tonight, or is she watching the recorded version?
Like I've banished her to her room. No, she's been kind enough to like not use the internet. And then you see, the only way that she could have watched me would be if she was like sitting next to me, which would just be like really weird. It was like, that's the other thing about Asianness, is like the scrutiny. Like parents are always watching you. It's a joke I want to make, but yeah. So she's not watching me right now, but she'll watch later on.
Well, I think like Asian mums are absolutely amazing, and I think we had a really I don't know, because like thinking about your work and how you can integrate sort of like your home environment, your family, and your Asianness into your work. And I think we made a bit of a slight joke, like when, I can't remember if it was me or you, but talking about our mums cracking technology, and that like when they were doing video calling, it's like, oh my gosh, they can do this. But when you're actually observing what they're doing, they've got the video call on, but one person has their phone on the table looking up at the ceiling, and the other person, you can just see like the side of their head. So just like these tiny little sort of things that you get to observe whilst living at home. I was just wondering, like being in this environment, has it kind of given you any ideas that you can channel into your work?
Yeah, definitely. So Take Me Back to the Ocean was made at home, and there was like most of my projects are made at home, and there's a new project. Just like every sentence, like, oh, there's a new project, which is like about being at home as well. And there's 3 parts to it. There's a video, a zine, and an audio track. And there's poetry, and it's about local trees, no pun intended. And you can hear my mum in the kitchen with the dog on the audio track. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. That was with USUP Art Gallery. And yeah, like I think the thing is, like, my mum and I had different, ways to like rebuild. Like for her, she wants to make a home, and for me, I want to make art. And the reason for that is because art is my home. So we try and compromise. And then there's this dog. So she got this dog after my dad died, and she's eaten so much of our stuff. And she's like always getting into like scrapes, and she's really annoying. But it's actually helped me write some songs.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear. I mean, everything you just described sounds like a music video in itself. So it'd be amazing if you could just like bring those together. I mean, I love that. Just like, I feel like, the root of our identity, there's always like this, we draw on our families because that's what we kind of like was exposed to from a very early age. And I think that does influence us. So I just found it quite interesting you describing that. It's like, this sounds like a music video. Not kind of like, implanting that seed in any kind of way. I'm just going to bring in a question because we're talking about influences and how you channel that into your work. Someone in the audience asked, is there any particular sort of musician or artist that inspire your work?
Oh, loads. Just like, I don't even know where to begin. I guess like some of the formational ones. I mean, you know, there's so many people's work that I encounter on a daily basis, and I really like recommendations. So like formative ones. I was a teenager when I encountered the work of Jan Svankmajer. Svankmajer. I always get
Svankmajer. I love his work.
Yeah.
Absolutely love his work.
And oh, and then there's actually a Czech filmmaker whose name I've forgotten now, but she made Daisies and some other feminist films that I hadn't heard of before. So yeah, anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. So just like loads of people. Yeah, I like surrealists quite a lot. I don't know, my mind's gone blank now. I'll think about it afterwards, and maybe I had been thinking of like making a post of like artists whose work I like as well. I'll see if anything comes to mind.
Okay.
Apart from Jens Svankmajer.
I mean, Jan Svankmajer, like I watched him all through my sort of degree, and he influenced all of my sort of degree work. I think it's brilliant, and the Key brothers as well in terms of animation. Great. Well, I think what's really interesting, Squid, about you, and like when we've been talking, and I think a lot of people don't get to hear it, it's like your process and how, you know, usually with artists, people get to see that end sort of piece, but never get to hear how that person or the artist gets to that final sort of creative vision. So I kind of want to draw onto your recent work, especially the poems that you beautifully presented to us tonight. And I kind of want to think about, you know, expressing feelings that are personal in our lives. So Flying in Fall is absolutely beautiful. That really, like, I read it before, but you speaking it tonight really touched my heart. And, you know, you told me previously in a conversation, like, you know, about the death of your father. And like, this is the first time you've shared this publicly. And I kind of wanted you to expand on the process of writing this poem, and if that's helped you with your grief, and what it means to you to be able to share it with us tonight, and what you would like people to take from it.
Well, I always hope there's someone listening who feels inspired to write their own poem or make their own song or draw something, like draw a comic. And I think that art is like really transformative, and like, you know, there's this kind of, sometimes there can be this like idea that you only make art when you're feeling great, and, you know, like you've retired and you have a house by the sea and everything's great, and then you write your life story. And like, for me, it's kind of like I make art when I'm not feeling good, or when I'm feeling confused, and then it helps me to work things out. So and then I feel different afterwards, and I always feel better. There's this statement, it's like, the point of art is not to make good art. You know, like, I can't remember, I don't know who said that actually, but it was on a sticker that someone gave me. And yeah, so this is all like, because you asked about grief, and it's like grief is like, it's kind of like mixed in with other things. It's a bit like a salad, because it's not just like, oh, this year I'm just going to spend grieving. It's just like there's other things, like, you know, the responsibilities and trying to make stuff. And so it's I would say like it's I've just had like so much influence from like queer and Black trans thought, and it was through like discovering art and writings of Black and queer trans activists that I've discovered my relevance as a human in a society that like rejects like different parts of me. And so I wanted to mention some, apart from the writer sessions that I mentioned earlier, like I went to a grief event run by Misery Party, and there was a healing event from QT BIPOC Fest Berlin. I think I got the name right. And then there's like QT BIPOC Generations, where we talk about generational issues, and Healing Justice London and the Feminist Library, and also being included in like EC things like Asians in Britain and EC in Tech, and, you know, like, and talking to those people and having them, and seeing them support my work, you know, it's really raised my confidence in voicing my opinion, which motivates me to create. And, you know, like, for anyone listening as well, like, I think it's really worth trying to find a group of like-minded people, like possibly from the same background as you. Like, I think that's really important. It's like, I read in Daikon Zine, like, this person was like saying that something about going to therapy and then the therapist asking them to like do a project on their family, and also like kind of questioning about going to a therapist like from a similar background, or at least like BIPOC. And you know, if there isn't something that really fits you, like you can like make your own group. Like I'm not saying it's easy, but like I think it's possible.
I think thank you so much for that, and that kind of like leads into my final question, because like you do so much already, and I think, you know, you've already mentioned that you do a lot of your work solo, and part of this event is to reach out and just to see who's out there in terms of like who could collaborate with you. So I mean, you can talk us through some ideas, but we could go on for another half an hour or longer. But I guess I kind of wanted to talk to you more about what does collaboration mean to you. And I like the idea that you've just talked about in terms of finding people that you can relate to, that they can relate to you, and combining forces and creating work. So yeah, what does collaboration mean to you, and how important is that in your work, your future work? And if there's anyone out here, so that was it you were looking for a music producer, project manager,
video director, dancers. I do know some dancers actually. I just hadn't got around to talking to them like from Bit and Peach, but I just like more people dancing in the video. But there'll be like particular roles that obviously there'll be like one video director, one music producer, and one, what is it called, the person who project manages?
It's a project manager. It's like making it too complicated for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously I need to make the call out, you know, to organize like the copy for that, and to kind of like put that on social media and things. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, collaboration is like interacting with our different skills and energies and ideas. And, you know, I like you said, Tuyet, I have so many ideas, and actually like people sometimes tell me that they're jealous, and it's actually really frustrating because I just don't have the time to do all my ideas, and it's exhausting, like trying to do all these things. And, you know, like, you know, people like, oh, you've done so much. It's like, that's just like a few of my many ideas. And I'm kind of hoping that maybe with more people, I might be able to produce more of the ideas. And also sometimes I do think about just like listing ideas, just so that people can just like, you know, run with them if they want to. And one of my new collaborations is an Instagram live, like where I talk to people that I know about their work. And the next one is on Monday, and it's on my Instagram at the Mollusc Dimension. We'll be talking about QT BIPOC generations with a Black non-binary artist. And like, you know, you are asking at some point, like, did you say like, who do I need to create or something? Like, kind of like I was thinking, I need to feel that what I'm doing has impact and is relevant, because I don't know, like I think everyone is sensitive, not just artists. Like there's that thing about artists being sensitive. Like I think you know, human beings are sensitive generally in different ways. But like, you know, I can get affected, but I'm very affected by feedback. Like, so people tell me that they've seen something, it just feels like, you know, it was worthwhile. So, you know, if you're listening and you want to support my work, then you can give me feedback, you know, likes, comments, and follows are encouraging. And I want to say a really big thank you to like everyone who's like already supporting me and has given me feedback. You know, I put those reviews on my website. And you know, you can buy something from my shop. And as I said, I'll be donating 75% of my proceeds this April to Hackney Chinese Community Services. And you can sign up to my mailing list. And if you're not my student, follow me on social media. And if you, yeah, like Tuyet said, like if you want to be in Asians of Feelings, write me an email. And I just really want to say like thank you for interviewing me and for all the support you've given me in the lead up to this event. And I'm really grateful as well to Chinese Arts Now for this, you know, this amazing opportunity. And I'm feeling vibrant.
Good, you should. You're. I mean, since I first had that conversation with you, I think it was like 2 hours or something. I think you've so much to you, and it's such a joy to talk to you. And I think, you know, if there's anyone out there who could like join forces with Squid, the Mollusc Dimension, and sort of amplify that work and create something beautiful, then please get in touch with him. There's a few recommendations. Thank you, Nemo, for Zach King is a great gender fluid dancer, and April Lynn is a great filmmaker. They're both, I can vouch for those two, that they're amazing. But yeah, but let's keep the conversation going. Please follow the Mollusc Dimension. And thank you so much for bringing this event together. It's been wonderful getting to know a bit about you and your work and your process. And thank you for Urie Jo for coming on and asking some brilliant questions and giving insight to their work as well. So yeah, so sadly, I do have to end it because we've run out of time. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the conversations. And yeah, any questions, just post it into the box and we'll get that sent over. Thank you very much.